Eat, sleep, move.
Yes.
All foundational. It's like a stool. Yeah, if you take away sleeping, eating, hydration, the stool falls over. My parents are Thai, but I was born in America.
Yes.
So I'm at the gym, and I'm asking, hey, when's the next class? In Thai. The Thai trainer responds in English. And I'm like, what? Am I not good enough? Do I not look Thai enough? Do I not sound Thai enough?
The only way you can understand is to actually do it.
It's to fail.
Yeah,
it's
to
go and
fail.
experience it, taste it,
Yeah.
but failing safely. And we're all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Whether you're a Muay Thai, you're a ballet dancer,
Right.
you're a rock climber,
Right.
you're a Red Bull,
Right.
Daredevil, you still need to eat, sleep, hydrate,
Yeah.
right? Honestly, I feel like it's everything else in life. You can get good, you can get better, but it's a never-ending journey.
Yeah.
It becomes very asymptotic, closer and closer, but you never quite get there.
Limit.
You never hit the limit, yes.
Yeah. So, welcome back to Heads and Tails. Today, I'm joined by Ahnon, a movement mentor whose mission is to elevate everyday people into flying acrobats and graceful dancers, one step at a time. Born in the USA to parents from Thailand, I meet Ahnon in the parks of Chiang Mai doing acro-yoga, and instantly we click. From his roots in wrestling to his journey through acrobatics, partner dancing, acro-yoga, and Brazilian Zouk mentoring, Ahnon has mastered the art of movement and mindset. In this episode, we explore the intersection of skill and will, the dynamics of solo and partner dancing, and what it means to create your own context when you don't feel at home in any one place, be it the US or Thailand. Ahnon also shares his insights on how fear is a useful servant but a very lousy master, and how humans are a product of their own environment. Get ready for a deep dive into transformation through movement and the power of stepping beyond your limits. Let's take it away. Hi, dude.
How's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
We are at wonderful gym crew people. What crew is teacher or does that mean anything?
Good question? I don't know.
You don't know.
I should have looked that up. Yeah.
How does that feel to be in Thailand as a Thai person who is like Thai is not as strong as their English?
Honestly, I feel like it's everything else in life. You can get good, you can get better, but it's a never-ending journey.
Yeah.
It becomes very asymptotic, closer and closer, but you never quite get there.
Limit.
You never hit the limit, yes.
Yeah. So has it been a long journey up until this point? Or do you think time relatively passes quickly?
Oh, yeah, it's just a journey, right? What is 5 seconds a long time, 5 minutes a long time. So eating something that's delicious,
Yeah.
5 seconds can feel like forever.
Right.
Or running for 5 minutes can be forever. Or
Yeah.
holding your breath for 5 minutes is forever. So it is, we're here.
Very relative, right? Nice. Wonderful. Yeah, we're here at the gymnastics gym because there's like so many other gyms. But this one is geared particularly for gymnastics, correct?
Yes, we have all this lovely space, and you can't see behind the camera. We have all this equipment.
Right. Yeah. I'm getting used to just recording anywhere and everywhere, you know, like at some point I want to record in the Amazons, just like with that's why I need to be a little bit more nimble with the whole equipment and everything. What is it that you would say is your passion?
Movement and connection, both physically moving on earth,
Yeah.
as well as moving within my body, dancing, acrobatics, moving to music, from music, with music, and connection with humans, physically, emotionally, verbally, non-verbally. It's just the whole
Movement and connection. That would be the basis of a lot of life, actually, right? You know? Come to think of it, what else is there?
I remember in university, in my biology class, they showed a picture of a bacteria cell, and it was going after food
Yeah.
and running away from, I say invaders, but like
You're good.
attack cells.
No.
So like immune cells. And I feel like it's us. We're either avoiding pain or chasing pleasure.
Interesting. Yeah, on the very, very like cellular level, people think it's behaving differently, than the macro. But I kind of feel like everything is the way it should be happening. Like even though a lot of people have this kind of doom porn like perspective of what's going to happen next year, like Trump's gonna get elected, and like we're all going to hell. Like I still think it's it is the way it should be.
I was salsa dancing last Sunday night,
Okay.
and I was talking to this guy, Derek. Maybe we can put his little
Awesome.
Instagram
Sure.
thing here.
Shout out to Derek.
Yeah. And he said, in his amazing, he's been dancing, solo dancing for 10 years. First time doing partner dancing. And it's like broken English. But the thing he told me stuck with me so much.
Oh, what was
He
it?
said, we shouldn't project our mind onto the world.
Oh.
So our mind can compute things. It can like understand. It can analyze. We can make models in our mind.
Okay.
But if I'm asking you, inviting you to do something, I shouldn't say like, I want this to happen, and no matter what, I force you into it.
No.
It should always be like an invitation up, an invitation over, or I invite you this way, invite you that way. But life, the Tao, whatever you want to call it,
the way.
it's gonna do its thing. We cannot force it. We can influence it, or we can build dams, we can build levees.
But if water's gonna pour down and people over here are gonna just be underwater, that's what's gonna happen.
I mean, just like what happened recently here in Chiang Mai. Unfortunately, there's flooding, and it's
There's hurricanes and stuff going on in America. So recent events have pointed towards a destructive time. But also, nature isn't kind of resentful against human. I feel like it's kind of indifferent to human, really. It's just
we're part
like
of nature. We are
Yeah.
within nature.
yeah, but like a lot of actions, people love to correlate things. That's why I love Rick and Morty. Like they always take a jab at how people take meaning from everything. It's like
Our ego.
yeah, it's like, oh, like we're the center of the universe and everything's revolving around us. That's why I say nature's indifferent. So like we are indifferent to each other, actually, at the crux of it. But things like dance and movement and acrobatics, I've been trying to do a handstand with you as well. I think that creates the opposite of whatever indifference would be.
Passion.
I guess, right?
Strong desire.
Oh, yeah,
I want to do this. I need
That's
to do
a foil
this.
of indifference is passion. That's a good catch. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. It really triggers that part of human nature, I guess, human experience, rather, that forces you to be passionate about whatever's in front of you and connect with it. So, is that probably why you're into it?
I think it was from the Matrix, maybe.
Oh,
And he said, our desires are what make us human.
yes.
So people are on this journey for romance and dating and fitness, trying to lose weight, trying to get more muscle, whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes I hear my friends tell stories about this is bad or that I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have eaten that. I shouldn't have gone on this date. But it's like there's some part of you that wanted to do that.
Right.
And we don't have to follow it blindly. We should honor it and try to integrate that piece of you that wanted to do the thing, that wanted to eat the cookie, that wanted to binge Netflix.
Yeah. Instead of just pushing it away and being like, nah, this is the worst part of me. I don't want to do this. More like, oh, this is a part of me and I have to learn to live with it.
It's here, it's present. It's
Yeah.
it's what makes me me. Like I like handstands, I like acroyoga, I like
Right.
dancing. So That's my friend Dr. Kelsey, who can also maybe do like a little Instagram shout out for
Okay.
her.
Okay. Shout out to
She,
Kelsey.
what's up, Kels? She is a weight loss specialist, medical doctor, and her philosophy is not about inhibiting or controlling or limiting, but allowing, or at the very least understanding what this craving is, not just like shutting it down, shutting it down, shutting it down.
Yeah. So once you understand what's behind the craving, you kind of can mitigate or understand where it's coming from so that you won't at least unconsciously delve into these things.
Right. And the more we suppress something,
Yeah.
that's just my thinking, the more we suppress something, it's just going to come back later stronger.
Yes.
But if you're like, okay, I'm really feeling cookies and giving space for this emotion to come up, to rise, and we, as they say, don't avoid the waves, learn to surf on top of the waves. So you say like, okay, like I'm feeling hungry. Why? I'm stressed. My boss yelled at me.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in traffic. I'm late for work. Something happened. I'm feeling stressed, and I want a whole sleeve of cookies. I want giant ice cream. So instead of pushing it away, and then later on it comes back and haunts you, you say, okay, I can have one cookie, two cookies, three cookies.
Yeah. Like break it down to the granular level of your desires, like where they're coming from.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it's easier when you move around a lot, because all the worst decisions I've made are when I'm really tired, like all nighter, like it's like 6 o'clock in the morning and like I'm hungry, so I am going to eat that sleeve of cookie. But when I'm rested and like I'm feeling toned and I'm feeling like agile and everything, I don't make that many bad choices. I feel like there's a correlation between tiredness and sleeplessness and just like poor movement habits
For sure.
to like bad decisions.
For sure. Can I go into a story
Yeah.
real quick? So my parents are Thai,
Uh-huh.
but I was born in America.
Yes.
So like Fatih said earlier, I don't quite belong.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me. So I'm at the gym and I'm asking, hey, when's the next class? In Thai.
Okay.
But the Thai trainer responds in English.
Oh.
And I felt this
They like doing that.
yeah. And I'm like, what? Am I not good enough? Do I not look Thai enough? Do I not sound Thai enough?
It's not about you though.
And I noticed, no, it's not about me. And I noticed it was just an instinctual evolutionary need to belong.
Oh.
We have these, if you look at Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we have this instinctive safety in groups. So I feel like for me, never really fitting in America, never really fitting in here,
Yeah.
I had to create my own identity. I had to make my own self. So we cannot ignore these instincts. We cannot outthink them. So just like in acro, we are afraid of falling.
Yeah.
And no matter what I as a teacher say, this
That fear will be there.
It's going to be there, but it's a
Yeah,
good thing.
yeah,
This fear has kept us alive
Exactly.
for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yes.
What we can do is we can out-train and out-practice these instincts. So if someone's falling, that they fall and I catch you, I spot you.
Yeah.
So you're telling your brain, you're giving your brain the experience of falling's okay because my friend's going to catch me.
Yes.
Or falling's okay because I can roll and catch myself. So over time, the instincts become lessened, mitigated,
Yes.
ameliorated, because our higher functioning brain is saying, no, we can do this. We don't need to belong in a tribe. We don't need to belong by words, by clothing, by politics. So like I can go out and meet new people. I don't need to be in the same predetermined tribe.
Yeah, exactly. It's the switching from. I shared a meme that's kind of funny. A lot of people liked it. A person's not from a place. A person's from a childhood. So it really doesn't matter from where you are in the world or like what your parents are from, because the world is so global now and universal, and we have technology at our fingertips. I mean, like conversations I was having last night is like, how do we provide, like crypto solutions, like just cash in hand for indigenous people, like who are trying to exist in society. These are like some of the problems that are being tackled. Obviously, there's war and shit going on, but like there's a wide spectrum of a lot of people trying to help other people. So it really is, like your temperaments. I've heard, like children are just a product of their environment. So like when someone's acting out of hand in class, is usually because they have dysfunctional like family. So I really do think like your background, your family is, that's why Freud was so obsessed about the mother and the father and the Electra complex and all that stuff. So it's definitely, like the childhood that kind of builds these experiences, but at like, as you say, we definitely have the power to, um, override or break the patterns, as it were. And I think that's what's happening and especially my generation. Like the millennials are sort of, uh, mid like changing the way they look at life, because even if I look at my own lineage, there's everyone's doing something because their parents told them to do so. And it's been like that for the past 7, 8 generations. And now it's kind of like, I feel like I'm walking like with all these sheep, and like finally I just like turn my head back. It's like, wait a minute, like everyone's walking in the same direction. What? Hold on, So actually, to have a very mixed kind of experience of, like being from, maybe the Oriental part of the world and going to the Occident and sort of like, experiencing that and relating to the world in that way, and then coming back here to sort of like bring whatever is useful from that way of thinking and synthesize with. I kind of feel like that's the future.
Right. Take the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Take the Eastern spiritual and mix it with the Western practicality.
Yes. Yes. I mean, we get freaking rockets just being launched, and like being caught back with like a freaking tweezer almost. So we can't just dismiss that and say like, it's all bad for humankind, like all these electric cars, it's all for control. Oh, it might be, but still, like we kind of have to take the rough with the soft and integrate. Yeah. So is this time the first time you're in Chiang Mai? No, of course not.
No, I've been here before, I
Right.
think 2, 3 years ago.
Right.
And I feel like everything is the same but different. Like I have more dance training, I have more acrobatic training,
Mm,
but at the end of the day, all these social activities, any sort
mm,
of social dancing, rock
mm,
climbing,
mm.
I did this partner acrobatic teacher training,
Ah.
and we did my teacher David. We can also do a
Mm,
shout out to him.
uh,
We drew like all the reasons why we do acro,
oh, like a
and
little mind map.
yeah, like a mind map.
Uh-huh.
And he put like, I was like, yeah, tricks, cool, sexy tricks that
Right.
like wow people, and it's like
Mm,
fitness, la la la.
mm-hmm.
And it was like community, friendship, social, fitness, but these can all be gotten in other ways.
Yes.
So I feel like being an acrobat, being a dancer, is really about being a better human.
Mm. Yes, that's what my jujitsu trainer, Gyok-chan, would always say. It's like, when you get a black belt, it doesn't mean like, oh, I'm the best technique like guy. No, it means you're an example person. It's not just like, oh, like you can fuck shit up. It's like you can be an example and lead. Like you are. And another thing about being a leader is, when the best kind of leader is kind of like the best kind of shoe. The best shoe is the one that you don't feel it being there, but it's doing its job of protecting you from the ground and whatever. And same with the leader. The best kind of leader, you don't really notice that they're there. The people think they've done it, whatever they did. But the leader was kind of stretching themselves out thin so people could walk all over him and then just cross wherever they need to cross. So
Ironic that
yeah,
yeah, the leader is almost
you don't want to be the leader. Like,
no, for sure, it's definitely difficult. Like heavy's the head that wears the crown.
yes,
But same
exactly.
with like a dance leader. So
Wait,
for
say
instance,
that again?
like a dance leader,
No, the
in,
heavy lead the.
heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Oh. heavy lies the crown. I had this one jujitsu gi, and it said like heavy lies the crown. I was probably taking that phrase. Okay, interesting. Go on. Sorry, cut you off.
So basically, like when I first started my dance, I watched like a friend of mine, a female friend who was following another leader. I was like, "That's incredible! How did you do that?"
Yeah.
And she'd always be like, "He did it. I have no idea."
Yeah.
And now that after almost a decade, more than a decade of social dancing, now I have the ability to give this gift
Yes.
that I can dance with someone of all levels, especially beginners, and their friends are like, I didn't know you could dance like that.
Oh.
But it's really because I have so many repetitions.
Right.
I'm so attuned
Right.
to what they're doing that I can like style it and add flair and flavor with the music. So it's like, one person helping another person. That works for me too. Just
Yeah.
followers with more experience make me look good.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not just a one-way street.
Yeah. Dancing for selfish reasons.
That's right. Yeah.
But tell me, like, the way you got into dancing or how you found dancing. Was it through a friend who was already doing it, or?
It was. So I was always active, always in the gym, lifting weights. And then from lifting
Ever
weights.
since like a kid?
Since like 15, I played sports.
Wow. Okay.
It's like a spazzy little kid. And I think this kind of goes back to what you said about like what develops a child.
Right.
So half is the wrong word, but it's a mixture of nature and nurture. So maybe I was born with ADHD on the spectrum, neurodivergent, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And sports and fitness for me has been a way to makes you feel home. Makes you feel I like high stimuli events.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So from weight training as a child, playing sports in high school,
What
continuing football, wrestling, track,
Football, like soccer?
American football.
Oh,
Sorry.
damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Quarterback.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah, I was never that good. I was
Okay.
too spazzy and. But honestly, I feel
Interesting.
like I enjoy studying things and breaking things down. And I feel like maybe the sports that I played, like the team sports,
Yeah.
I didn't get enough of that
Oh.
one-on-one or personal attention where I could like really dive in and focus like, why does this happen? Why does that happen? But with wrestling, it was one-on-one, so I could kind of figure out what's happening in my body,
Yeah.
my opponent's body,
Right.
and not worry about other teammates.
Exactly. Yeah, that's huge to have like full agency over all the actions, because it's easy. And I used to play basketball as well, and it's easy when you have like bad teammates to just be like if you have bad teammates, fucking carry. You know, if you think like you can judge people and be like, oh, like yeah, these guys are trash, then freaking do something about it. So it's easy to either take credit or just give responsibility to other people when you're in team sports, especially as a kid. It's like, so yeah, individual sports is a very, very different ballgame, I think.
So I went from sports and then lifting weights to assist with sports, supplement sports, to I remember being in the gym and like seeing guys like not being able to curl. They would like their arms straight or like not being able to lift their arms overhead. And I was like, that's a problem I don't want to have. I want to be like flexible and strong.
Oh, which is extremely important. People skip that. The mobility aspect of it, the deep stretching aspect of it will prevent you from injuries.
Flexibility first.
Yes.
Flexibility first, strength second.
I have a freaking broken meniscus tear just because I skipped that rule. So I suggest everybody to be flexible first, like you said.
Strong second.
Yes.
And then cardio.
Yeah. No, don't get over there.
All right. So then yoga. I started doing yoga just because I was like, I want to be strong, but also have full range of motion, full access to my body. And then from yoga, sort of opened my like more feminine side, not just like raw power. And then from yoga to Zumba. And then Zumba, I was like, I like Latin music. I like reggaeton. I like different Brazilian funk. Yeah. And then I remember seeing like a Groupon for salsa.
Oh.
And this was after going to the bars and spending $80, $100 a night. For what? For nothing.
Yeah.
To get drunk with my friends in college, after college.
Right.
So I was like, there's got to be something else out there. There's got to be something else that's social, that's fun, that's not revolved around drinking.
Yeah, and I love what you say when we're training. Ahnon goes, oh, like a lot of people go out for getting drunk and just Zoe and Yellow. Like there's a bar area around here. It's basically just clubs and 18-year-old first timers. And when you're 18, it's fun. But what's fun right now for me as well, I could totally join that sentiment, is sweating every morning. Sweating every morning is more fun than drinking, because the little incremental improvements that you get, the thing you learn about your body, the thing you learn about having a nice conversation with someone, yeah, it's wonderful. And especially for gyms that have more than just like the equipment, that when you have gymnastics, there's like another discipline being introduced. And I think a lot of people go to the gym just to maintain their fitness, like a lot of expats come here and they just go lift weights and just maintain their level. Some people want to get into it, but for me and a lot of other people, like having that stimulation, that intellectual stimulation of learning something, either what is it to do a handstand, to move your body, and these are kind of like intuitive kind of things, right? Like to dance with somebody. Like I can't dance for shit, I have to just let go to it. It's not something that I can learn as a technique. It is, as much as it is. There's a part of it that isn't. I don't know. You're the master. You talk about it.
So I feel like with dancing, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
The different part of your brain.
Yeah.
So I call it invertality,
Mm-hmm.
musicality, and what's the other one? Hydrocality or swimming.
Okay.
So for those of you who know how to swim, it's a different part of it's a different experience for your brain.
Right.
So I can teach you to swim like this. Like push out, roll in, slow out, fast in, slow, right? Like whatever the stroke is. And you can do it a million times.
Yes.
So it's in your brain, and your teacher comes and corrects you, oh, too slow, too fast.
Mm-hmm.
But after a certain point, you need to get wet. You just get in the water
Right.
and have your brain experience wetness.
Right.
Just like to dance, you just have to have your brain experience the music and experience partner. What does it feel like to lead someone?
Yes.
And I had a thought. Oh, yeah, we can sit here and philosophize all day.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to, again, project your mind onto the water,
Yeah.
doesn't work.
No.
If you're trying to project your mind onto the music,
Yeah.
doesn't work.
It's kind of like trying your brain out. Those like apps girls use for like choosing outfits. They'll just like have these outfits and AI will put like clothes on them and be like, oh, this is how you'll look. Which is not the freaking case. You will not look like that at all,
Right,
It's
right.
the same way, I guess, right? Like to project your mind onto any of these activities. Like for me too, like to do a handstand, I thought it was going to be a piece of cake, But it's obviously like there's so many components that go to it. And just realizing that the only way you can understand is to actually do it.
It's to fail.
Yeah,
to
it's
go
to
and experience
fail.
it, taste it,
Yeah.
but failing safely and
Yes. Learning.
failing forward and progressively failing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, in that context, I think there's only learning. So I just learned with this fall. I just learned with this fuck up. I just learned with for the wise person, it's always learning. It's always
It's data.
pushing
You have
forward.
data that
Yes.
what they say, Edison didn't fail 20,000 times.
Yeah.
The light bulb, he found 20,000 ways
Yeah.
to not make a light bulb.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of my friends say they learned dancing in South America. Like, I guess dancing it also means how to engage socially with women, without being intimidated and with being like suave, like I don't know. So you've visited South America. Yeah, yeah. And how was it?
When you go somewhere,
Yeah.
the home, the origin of the place,
Yeah.
it's such a totally different, like the flavor, the experience, the depth, the richness of movement and vibe and attitude that like their basic step the basic step in Brazil is the fanciest thing than the fanciest trick in America or Europe,
Wow.
because one person is just like chicken and potatoes, or meat and potatoes, and this is like just potatoes, but they put something else. They put so much.
Secret sauce.
Yeah, the flavor, the sauces, and this is like okay, chicken, potatoes.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like American Western food is just protein, carbs, fat.
Right.
McDonald's cheeseburger,
Yeah.
protein, carbs, fat.
Yeah.
More of it, more cheese.
Yeah.
But if you come here, Thai food is all kinds of there's seasonings. Like the spice rack is insane.
Yeah.
And there's just teeny tiny little amounts of this,
Yeah.
teeny tiny little amounts of that.
Yeah.
And it's not about
And like potent stuff too, you know? So it actually does alter the taste.
but a little bit at a time. And you
Yes.
get like these like micro flavors versus like Western food is just
I've never heard anyone describe Brazil from freaking condiments. That was nice.
yeah, like American food is just hamburgers, hot dogs. More flavoring usually means more sugar,
Right.
more salt.
Right,
And we
right.
go from
More of
like-
the fundamentals, like no concern for umami, which is like a
Yeah.
mouth feeling rather than taste.
But it's like more of this. It's more of this. It's just more.
Yeah.
So I think Westerners, more is better.
Louder is not always better.
Right. Exactly.
So are you talking strictly in a dance context, or are you talking about life in general?
I say life in general. I went to Belarus.
Uh-huh.
Shout out to my buddy Arthur.
Arthur
Arthur
shout out.
White. He posted this little thing. Was his Instagram.
Oh, the
And-
super strong guy,
Super strong.
like the one who can hold a freaking female with one of his hands. Damn.
And do a split while holding someone over his head. Spicy. So they do the same thing.
Uh huh.
They do the same thing that other people do,
Yeah.
but the caliber of execution is just
Very different.
ungodly.
Oh.
It's you look at it and you're like, I can't even fathom what's going on.
Yeah.
Even though I thought I was doing the same thing.
Different worlds.
Different leagues, different world, there's different planet, different dimension, different. You're just like, what?
The Intergalactic Federation is observing these two different
Yeah.
coexisting realities.
I'm not gonna lie. I was arrogant. I thought I could do a trick, and I go there,
Yeah.
and I'm struggling to do what for them is like the first steps of a baby.
It's many levels, many masters, many lives.
So, yeah, so deep
Yeah.
and just so simple. Like such profoundness and such simplicity.
Well, that's the power of just consistency, right? You keep talking about that. It's not about the perfect execution. It's more about the how many times have you done it. I feel the same in martial arts as well. It's like I can do a move for the first time in my life and struggle to get it. It's like, did I do it? Did I get it? Like I don't even know if I got it or not. When I do it 100 times, I'll know if I got it because the guy will go to sleep.
You're starting to get there.
You're starting to get there, or like, and when I experience it being done to me, I'll be like, whoa, okay, that's how he pulls out and on it. And if I do 1,000 times, now I can like rely on doing it in a very quick time. I can snap into position and just like pull it.
You can modify it.
And then 10,000 times, I can do it to anybody in any given circumstance. But it's just about the consistency that you continue throughout your life. Like taking pauses, breaks, no.
So consistency and also what's the path you're on and who's your
Right.
teacher.
Right.
Because if you're consistent doing
The wrong thing.
wrong or inefficient or ineffective,
Yeah.
then you just get better at doing the wrong thing or being inefficient or not seeing the right cues.
Yeah. And how do we realize, or how do we keep awareness of doing the right thing? How do we know if we got the right teacher?
I think it's where trust comes in.
Yeah.
Now we're getting like marketing
Yeah.
of like, okay, who is this person? What's their street cred? Can they do what I want?
Yeah.
When I look at them, do I want to move like that? Do I want to speak like that? Do I want to emulate this person?
Yeah. Those are kind of questions you need to ask in your mind.
Right. And to be honest, like growing up, I hate's a strong word, but I didn't like how people would emulate celebrities or sports stars.
Yeah.
And I kind of went the opposite direction. I was like, I'm not copying anyone. I'm going to be me. But then ironically, I started doing Tai Chi.
Oh.
And it was like, you want to copy one teacher exactly the way he or she does their thing
To a T.
to a T,
Yeah.
down to the last cellular level, to the last breath, to the last
Yeah.
millimeter, nanometer of movement, but only that.
Ah.
Like, maybe they're a great Tai Chi person, they're a great dancer, but maybe they can't cook, or maybe they're a bad driver, or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
So just copy that one aspect that you want.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So a lot of people get carried up. I guess it's because people have a lot of time, in their hands, but they love to go beyond, like an amazing composer, like has a horrible family life, like amazing philosopher, like like he beats his fucking children,
Right,
like,
yeah.
dude, like you can't be perfect all around, I mean, I guess I was being exposed to sort of general truths about like yoga, for instance. 90% of the yoga practiced in the world is by like a Swedish gym guy who translated all these poses into something that's very bland and like away from the message, to be honest, because yoga, the asanas are just like one of the 8 limbs of yoga. I'm not going to remember the rest, but it's just deep meditation, and like this Christ is not necessarily a person, but a state of consciousness that you can achieve through practice and dedication, and that's kind of like the point.
It's a goal to aim for.
Yeah.
It's a guideline, not a goal.
Yeah.
So when I'm teaching my students both acro and dancing, I will bring in props and tools.
Yes.
And I tell them that I don't want you to dance like this on the dance floor.
Right.
But this stick, this ball, this sponge, whatever it is going to show you that you're stepping off your line or that you're collapsing your frame.
Right.
So yeah, I think Christ, whoever, Buddha, whatever, it's just like, okay, like
It's a guideline. It's a
the
prop.
guideline. Like, yeah, it's a handrail. It's like, okay, when you're feeling stressed, someone cuts you off, whatever,
Right.
like breathe and just do your best.
Yeah. That's good. That's a railing.
It's a railing. It's a guide. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. It's funny you put it that way. Because I think the way religion's designed right now, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but just bear with me here. I think the way it's designed right now is to use people, like use this guideline, this railing, as this like impossible kind of unachievable like state of person, and make people feel guilty about not achieving that, and then like eliciting money or resources or time from them because they're not, like fear-based selling, right? Like I did sales for such a long time, and like the best way to sell something is like play on people's insecurities. Like your face looks ugly. You want to cake your face up, before you go out. Most of the purchases are done by women, so the whole industry is based on feeding off of insecurity. And I don't exclude religion from this business. Well, it is a business.
Yeah. So I feel like at different times, excuse me,
No worries.
different people need different answers. So for myself, I personally love long answers.
Yes.
Like unless I'm like crunch for time, I'd be like, give me like everything. Give me your philosophical.
The white paper. Let us read it.
Right? Yeah. Like open the scroll. I want to read it.
Yeah.
That's just who I am. I love details. I love why.
Yeah.
I love how biomechanically,
Yeah.
what's happening, which muscles are being engaged. But sometimes people just want a short answer. Sometimes if my students ask me, what should I do? That's what you want, a long answer or a short answer. Sometimes they want short, sometimes they want long. So short, I'll be like, you stepped off your line, or you didn't engage your core, or your bones weren't stacked.
Right.
And sometimes they'll be like, I want a long answer, and I say, well, if you do this, you need to be here and not here, otherwise it's going to be heavy. Or this leads to that. Or sometimes even like a metaphor. I'll say, do you want a metaphor and analogy? Imagine you're driving your bike and you hear something like, there's, what is it? An ocean in a drop in the ocean. So acro and dance is a way that you can carry yourself in the practice, but it also translates into the rest of your life.
So it's like a lifestyle rather than just one thing that you do.
I think by focusing on one task or hobby,
Uh-huh.
you get an in-depth understanding of that hobby, but also of life as well. So if you're always jumping from hobby to hobby, you never go deep to the point where you get these, what do you call them, contradictions, contraindications. Because I'll be like, all right, guys, listen, most of the time this happens except for this time. Except for this,
Yeah.
every other time you're doing this.
Yeah. You won't know that time, whatever that is.
Right, because you're
yeah.
always going from like, okay, scuba diving for 3 months and then skateboarding, and which is fine. Hey, it's your life. You do what you want to do. But I like going deep into things and having an understanding, because then if you study like yoga for a long time,
Right.
then when someone teaches you rock climbing, they go, oh, it's 99% this except for 1% that. And
Right.
you're like, oh, well, I know that from my deep yoga studies
Yeah.
that this relates to that.
Yeah. When you go really deep, truth tends to reveal itself.
We're all climbing the same mountain. It's just different ways up.
But when you also go really wide, it also reveals itself.
Right. You see a lot of the same truths in different
Disciplines,
applications,
yeah.
different disciplines. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of different ways of looking at the same thing. But what was it that made you kind of sure that after being as like a fit as a person, active, you're going to the gym, working out, what made you kind of like switch over to acro and acrobatics in general, as like this primary way of how I spend my time?
For me, I think it was a mixture of like the adrenaline, the sweat,
Yeah.
the oxytocin from the touching. Again, like I'm not a neurochemist,
Right.
but it was just the right cocktail of socializing,
Yeah.
of working out, of fitness, of brain intelligence, right? Like understanding why this move works, why this move doesn't work.
So you get like enough mental stimulation from it.
Enough mental stimulation, enough physical
So
stimulation.
vasopressin, oxytocin,
Right,
you
like
got all the
all that
cocktails.
fun
Nice.
Yeah, mental, physical, heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it easier to connect with people through acro, you think?
It's 100% giving me the tools.
Yeah.
For sure. And I'm a different person
As a result of it, right?
right now than when I first started this journey.
Nice. If you took the journey, like let's say we exchange spots, right? And I'm kind of getting into it now. What would you do different? Is there anything you would do different?
Probably more intense trainings, or at the very least, I always try to find one good teacher and follow their path. Like it's good to have different teachers,
Right.
but if you can understand how one person brings you up the mountain, they have one path, it works for them, different applications,
Yeah.
then follow that rather than trying 7 different teachers with 7 different paths.
Right. It's like these kids probably learn from one teacher rather than like have them change like their acrobatics teacher like every year,
And actually, my friend Rosie Burr, we can do a shout out to her.
Yep.
She recommended this book called Mastery.
Robert Greene.
Robert Greene, exactly. Yeah. And it's like find one master. And we had this conversation:
Probably.
student versus teacher versus master versus disciple.
Yeah, why don't you run over us real
Absolutely. Where's my whiteboard?
quick?
So basically, maybe we can draw a little
Yeah.
diagram here, and later on we'll add it.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So on the x-axis, we have commitment.
Yeah.
So like low commitment. Excuse me. High commitment. And on the y-axis, we have level of knowledge, low level of knowledge, which is fine.
Yeah.
Everyone starts somewhere. High level of knowledge.
Right.
So on the lower left-hand quadrant, we have the student.
Right. Low commitment, low knowledge is
Right.
just,
You just want to learn.
yeah, it's in there.
No problem.
Okay.
And they find a teacher.
Yes.
So a teacher is high
more
level of experience, low commitment.
Right.
The teacher is just teaching you something.
Right.
Anyone can teach you anything.
Right.
You walk down the street, someone's like, hey, there's a good barbecue place over there. There's a good pizza shop over there.
Right.
Or like, oh yeah, if you straighten your back out, you won't less back pain.
Yeah.
So teacher teaches something, student learns something.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. But then as we shift over to the right quadrants, we have the disciple,
Yep.
high commitment, low experience,
Right.
and then their master, which is high experience, high commitment. So, excuse me. I say a teacher's job is to teach something.
Yes.
Like maybe some money involved, maybe there's not money involved. A student's job is to learn something. Again, maybe there's money involved, maybe there's not money involved. But a master's duty is to make things simple by showing you something that you already knew.
Yeah.
Like if I tell you handstand's a straight line, you're like, well, yeah, I know that, but upside down, whole different world.
Very different. Yes.
Right? Like dance on beat. Okay, like that's easy. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yes.
But start adding different movements in. Now it becomes a whole different show,
Right.
different experience. The disciple's duty is to do it 1,000 times, 10,000 times.
Right. Like super high commitment.
How can like I'm here.
Yeah.
Like if my teachers in Brazil tell me to do something, they tell me to stand on my head.
Yeah.
I'm standing on my head. To be a better dancer, stand on my head.
Yeah.
Whatever my masters tell me, I'm like, I will. Again, I'm not following blindly.
Right.
I question it. Maybe not there and then in front of them, but I make a side note, look it up later, or ask them for clarification later. But they're gonna say something that like, yeah, like I knew that. Like that makes sense. I never thought of applying it in this manner.
Right. Yeah, I think teachers and masters are fun. It's a good distinction to make, because teachers are dime a dozen. You know, like you can find teachers everywhere and anywhere, and everyone can potentially teach you something. That's what I say. Everyone's a teacher to everything. Like people say, like, "Oh, thank you for teaching me this." It's like, yeah, but it's an exchange because you've taught me a lot of other things. You know, so in every interaction that we have, there's a teacher dynamic. And I don't think there's like a teacher-student dynamic, it's a teacher-teacher dynamic because kids are the best teachers. Like they kind of have like the best kind of, all objective way of looking at life. So it's not kind of I'm saying this because of my, trauma or whatever, unless in the unfortunate event that, they had something really, really bad happen to them. But yeah, the rest of it is teacher-teacher dynamics. But masters, however, those are really hard to find.
I like we said about about children, that we can observe a child do something and learn from them.
Yeah.
So in that moment, they are teaching us.
Yes.
It's subconscious. Whereas disciple master is very conscious. Like I'm following this person, whether on YouTube, whether on yoga in the park, or whatever it is.
Right.
Like I am consciously modifying my behavior.
There's a dedication.
There's a dedication. Whereas we can watch a child do something and be like, oh, that's a new way to squat. I never thought of it that way. And maybe I change my way I squat, maybe I don't change my way I squat.
Yeah. New ways of squats from babies. But they have different bodies though. We can't necessarily do what they do.
I feel like yes and no. Like everyone has excuse me. 2 arms. Most people have 2 arms, 2 legs.
Right.
And that's basically the genesis of all acrobatics is that also the beauty of acrobatics is I can travel Germany, France, Iceland, whatever.
Right.
And I can play with different people.
Yes.
And some people have longer arms, shorter legs. Someone's a bodybuilder, they have bigger chests. So I have to adapt to that, to their not just their physical body, but maybe one person has more fear, the other person has less fear, and we can do different things. One person is great hand balancer, but not so much on the rhythm.
Right.
But someone can move their body rhythmically, but not have a super strong upper body.
That should be cool, huh? Just like travel doing this kind of same thing, kind of like a musician, right? You just go and do gigs. Nice. Have you done circus stuff at all?
I have done circus stuff.
Oh. Tell me about that world.
So I was actually in Brazil. Shout out to Tagri, Alini. It's my
Shout out
crew. Yeah.
Lini.
It's just super, super cool because they're also very fluid with their relationships.
Sure.
Whereas with sports acrobatics, it's a lot more solid. Like they train together
Mm-hmm.
and they work together. They don't really exchange partners too much,
Right,
from my
right.
understanding.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So the attitude to training is a little different.
I think both parties,
Mm.
circus and sports acro, do train hard. I feel like circus has more variety,
Mm.
and the sports acro has longer lineage, deeper lineage,
Right.
and it's more linear,
Right.
progressive.
Right. Is it like, I don't know, like with circus stuff, I always feel like it's this gypsy pop up, that anyone can show up and, like if they got the skill, like no one really questions it, They're like, okay, like you can just be a random stranger and just walk up and it's like, I want to do tricks. I'm like, oh, let's see what you got.
Right.
And then it's like,
Yeah.
and it's like, whoa, okay, you got the job,
Yeah, exactly.
That
Yeah.
was my impression of it from, the the cultural imagery, let's say, of the circus. But in it is apparently not that different.
And but I feel like all these things, all these different groups, they're still super friendly and warm. Like if you're a cool person, they're a
Yeah,
cool person. They're
yeah,
cool people.
yeah. Yeah, I guess like the idea of acrobatics I have in my mind, as as an average person, is a little bit more like these do all the stretches. Even when you see it in Olympics, they kind of have like the hello. It's very like systematic.
Formal.
Yeah, formal, very very
Yes,
formal.
yes.
Yeah, it's like the foil to circus people, which is interesting to think about.
You're not. I'd say I'd agree. You're not wrong.
Mm,
I think both parties still like respect, have like supreme respect for
mm,
elders and coaches.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I say circus is probably a little more loose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
probably same with cheer. Because
Right,
they don't
right.
have quite.
Cheerleading.
Again, I don't know too much cheer. My original coach Rob Lee, shout
Uh-huh.
out to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lineage that seems less rigid, less hierarchical. There is a
Oh,
hierarchy, but I feel like it's not as like sports acro. You get these like super. I was in Belarus, and
right.
like these OGs walked in, and like the whole it was like a hush in the audience. And
Ah,
I put my money. I'm like, who's that guy?
yeah.
He's like that guy's like 3-time Olympic champion from
Dang.
like 1980 something, some like old 60-year-old guy. And I was like, damn, respect.
What is the timeline with these sports? Do you know at all?
I could give, but I don't feel like I don't think I have enough
Uh,
knowledge, and we can.
do you think circus was kind of first and then sort of it got formalized
Oh,
through
that
acro?
timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't like looked at the history recently, so I don't want to give something that I don't
Okay.
want to misspeak.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Yeah.
I was just curious, like which came out of what?
I think it's just different lineages.
Uh-huh.
I feel like again, my experience with sports acros from Belarus, my friend
Right.
Arthur.
Right.
Yeah, it seems almost like here in Thailand, like it's like government mandated. Whereas in
Uh,
America, gymnastics is like sports
okay.
acro is like teeny tiny, like a
Right.
blink, like a
Right.
sand of
Right.
grain
Right. Right.
on the
Right.
beach.
Mm.
And team sports, for whatever reason, seems to be huge in America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, my buddy from Hawaii just came back, and we were talking about how he did like a volunteering in the Olympics, like photography and all that stuff. And the amount of money like the country with the most medal takes home is like billions. So each country is just like trying really hard to get all the medals, but the actual sports people get like a fraction of what is being exchanged. So I heard on Joe Rogan too. It's like the Olympics is like the biggest scam in history because you're exploiting. I mean, people have been exploiting other people's creativity, work, and dedication this whole life. I mean, it's kind of that's what we call the Matrix, right? Like you just feed into the freaking machine, whatever the fucking is. But the Olympics is like a whole other level because, I mean, just from this conversation that it takes so much effort to get one thing, just one move. and you're talking about Olympic level, like medal level performance.
Elite world class caliber.
It's impossible to be there like without like sleepless nights and like fucking nervous breakdowns and like just not wanting to do like, oh man, I just can't imagine, you
But
know.
not even your decades of sacrifice.
No.
But your coaches' decades of
Yes.
sacrifice, and their coaches, and
yes,
their coaches, and your
yes,
family, and you're like,
yes. Just to like for that 20 seconds, you know, like that Usain Bolt, like I trained like 9
4
years,
years,
or
whatever,
forever,
yeah.
for like these 9 seconds. It's crazy. And to like not compensate these people and just like let them do the thing from their pocket, you know, no wonder like there's all sorts of shade in the sports industry now, because, you know, like what me as like an enthusiast, I can only hope that some brand recognizes me and gives me like a few shekels so I can pay my rent, you know. But these corporations, man, it's freaking crazy, I tell you.
And I feel like that's also part of knowing who you are, knowing your worth,
Right.
and not only that, but communicating your worth.
Yes.
So if you're the best person at handstanding, podcasting,
yeah,
but no one knows it,
you
not
gotta
that
put
you
it in
shouldn't
front of
receive
people.
money, but
Yeah.
what's the value?
Right.
Whereas the corporations are, not that I'm defending corporations,
Sure.
but these people have a whole PR team, they have marketing team,
Right,
they have
right.
like
They're doing everything to maximize profit.
exactly,
Yeah.
and they're finding the talent or the technician to do the thing that they're good at, and then they're blasting that out into the ether, the yeah.
And we, like, you and I as these sort of enthusiasts, right? Or like aficionado. I don't know how to say that word, but yeah. We also need to incorporate these like dirty strategies of marketing, you know, in our
Did you
lives.
say dirty?
Yeah, I said dirty.
Why is it dirty?
Well, I was under the impression that you were kind of like portraying it as sort of like, you know, like not trying to defend these people, but like they got all the PR and the big ass like trying to maximize profit. It's like I think that's reaching the same thing, which is everyone wants to do what they love deep down,
When they want to do it,
when they want to do
how
it.
they want to do it.
But there's this maximizing profits thing in everyone's mind. But that maximizing profits means just like I just want to do the thing I love, you know. I guess. But when money becomes the object and not the vehicle, like when the bank accounts and like it's like net worth now, you know, like it's not like salary, it's not like how much do you make, it's not like, you know, what's your net worth, you know, like when conversations become that, like egos become way more pronounced, and like the greater good is like far less important, because the top 1% or like the top 0.1%, they don't even know that we exist. Like they don't even, it doesn't register to them. I feel like, you know, and the more money you make, the more like elite you find yourself, and like not like an elite athlete or like an elite musician. They're still more connected to reality than people running the shit, I feel like.
So I feel like, again, both like acro-yoga and dancing, these are hierarchical, these are skill-based
Yeah.
activities. So there is a natural hierarchy. And yeah, when you practice really, really hard for a long time, that things become second nature. So yesterday in class, I was like explaining to my students something. And I was like, oh yeah, just like ABC. And they looked at me like dead in the eyes. They were like, I don't understand ABC. And I was like, oh, crap. Like, I got to explain A and B and C.
Yeah.
And this is for me, it's like, okay, now we're getting to the meat. Now it's getting real. Like, my friend Derek Layer said, he said, black belt isn't when you master jiu-jitsu. That's when you first start learning jiu-jitsu.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because like now you have all the tools. Now you can mix and match, and now you can see and tinker and like, how does this affect that? How does that affect this?
Yeah.
So this you call it like eliteness, but you get to a certain level, and that comes from ego, but there's a different amount,
Well,
different way experience of enjoying something.
yeah.
So I feel like someone who's crunched for time, they really would enjoy like an hour at the park with their kids.
Right.
But they're working so hard
Yeah.
that they don't even have an hour to go to the park to watch sunset with their kids.
It's like impossible.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and for me, both in acro-yoga and in dancing Brazilian Zouk, it's this ego battle of
Yeah.
I'm not good enough, I'm amazing, but just being calm and present and just showing up and like, I love dancing and this person loves dancing, and then we just dance and that's it. And
The fun. Do it for the fun.
right, just coming back to basics.
Yeah. Only through practicing the same kick a million times, 1,000 times, however many, is the true way to really do that. But I want you to tell me more about this phrase. I think you can go off for a little bit. People think practice makes perfect, but actually what makes perfect is feedback. Feedback makes perfect.
So if I hear you correctly, you said practice doesn't make perfect, feedback makes perfect.
I guess practice with feedback would be the most perfect.
I read somewhere practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent.
Ah,
So with these two activities, dancing and acro, it's about hitting your line,
right.
right? Whether it's like I'm balancing something or a person, it basically needs to stay like vertical.
Yeah.
Even if the person is laying sideways, their hips and shoulders should still be vertical. So once you can attain that statically, then we go to dynamic
Right.
movements,
Fluidity.
fluidity,
Yeah.
and you're still hitting your line. You're still hitting like soft is the wrong word, but like smooth. You want to be able to
Yeah.
like hit your lines, bang, 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 as opposed to just like first finding your line. Okay, where's the line?
Right.
Can I move it?
Right.
And then like flipping the line and flipping the line and twisting the line.
Right. Right.
And same with dancing. Like dancing, we need to stay upright, but now we want to add some sort of head movement where we're able to move in different planes of motion, but the body is still generally vertical. Because if it wasn't, you would fall.
It's like 3D spatial awareness.
Right. While your head is doing this.
It was so trippy to climb in like a cave where, like you're just climbing like this and there's like a place where you can put your feet behind you and you're like, whoa, whoa. So I guess that's like when you're saying like hit the line, twist the line, like your 3D awareness is kind of different now.
Right. You could be head up, you could be head to the side, you could be head down, you could be head 45, whatever, but gravity is only pulling you down.
Yeah.
And the rope is pulling up.
Yes. Yes.
So I feel like both as a teacher and a student, as I'm learning more and more advanced technique, you don't falter the advanced technique. You falter because you missed something basic.
Right.
So when you study arithmetic, right? Addition, subtraction, adding, minusing, multiplication, and then you go to algebra. But when you're learning algebra, you're basically practicing arithmetic.
Right.
Like you can't, if you mess up, you probably won't mess up in the algebra part. You'll probably mess up in the arithmetic part.
Right. Right.
And then same when you get to calculus.
Right.
Like you're always strengthening the layer below.
Yeah.
'Cause you can't go up unless the foundation, the steps before.
It was
are
so
solid.
crazy when we learned how to do like derivatives, and like the whole freaking year was just building up to derivatives. And it's like, why didn't you tell me the derivatives in the first place? But like, it wouldn't make sense without everything below it, like the calculus and like the arithmetic, like you said. It's a good point.
Like if you falter in arithmetic, you mess up the whole. So when people, both in handstands and acro and dancing, when they try to copy the top, they try to get to the top, the foundation is not strong enough. So the teacher's job is to be like, no, remember 2 + 2 is 4. Like don't forget the plus symbol. Don't forget to switch the negative. Don't forget to dance a straight line. Don't forget to be steady as a base.
Yeah, the huge thing for me was like, when doing a handstand, people tend to walk, and that's what I've only seen people do, and I thought it was impressive. It's like, wow, like this guy's just walking. you're not really doing a handstand anymore. It's not like, well,
You're doing a hand walk.
hand walk, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that was huge, because then you give give yourself a chance to like feel the line, and then there's like an opening, a possibility for you to play with the line and everything. So
Right, so the teacher's job is to keep you on your line from
Right.
A to Z straight up, and
Right.
naturally you're going to deviate, which is
Yes.
part of learning. It's part of
Right.
making your mistakes.
Right.
Because if you never deviate, then you never make mistakes. Then you stay at whatever level you're at. So putting on the foundation, strengthening the foundation is like making the building super strong. It's like setting the foundation so you can put the jacuzzi on top of the building. So you put a
Right.
pool on the rooftop. Because if the foundation is garbage, that pool, a little wind is gonna knock the pool. It's gonna collapse the building.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there any tips for anyone who's getting into this kind of world, or is like peripherally interested, at like acrobatics in general?
I feel like I want to say just find a good teacher, find a good path. Really, just keep going
Right.
and do the research. Right, keep researching, keep playing. I saw this meme and it said, "The purpose of knowledge is application,
There he is.
not more knowledge." So we need to balance learning how to do something versus just doing it.
Yes. 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 Learning and doing are very different things.
Right, exactly. So I always say, people, excuse me. I ask them, "Do you want to learn a handstand, or do you just want to copy a hand? Do you just want to do a handstand?"
Right.
So I'm here to
Right.
teach, but if you
Yes.
just want to play with it, by all means, space is yours.
Yes.
I'm not here
yes.
to interrupt or to stop your flow.
Right, 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 right. But the camaraderie and sort of the teacher relationship that I've seen in these kind of communities is I think it's a really good way to connect. Like when I was fishing for advice, I was just fishing for, I guess, like for you to say, like, go to these places, like if you keep seeing it on your feed, it might be because you're interested in it, like on social media or whatever. So like go to these places, meet these people, like make the connections, because people are genuinely nice. You just have to go first, because if you don't go, then they'll never know that you exist and that you need help and everything.
It reminds me of a quote. It's you don't have to be great to start,
Right.
but you have to start to be great.
Say it again.
You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great.
That's wise words to live by.
And you're right, finding communities, and they say you're the average of the 5 people you're around the most.
That's true. That's true. That's very, very true. I've seen that over and over again in my life, and I feel like we meet people based on, damn, they're so freaking bendy. And we meet people in our same bracket of trauma. So when you start healing and the other person's not keeping up, or the other person's healing and you're not keeping up, you kind of part ways, because everyone's hurt on one or many levels. At least one level of people are hurt, and we're around folks that are the similar kind of hurt with us.
Yeah, it's homophily. Homo the same, philios, philia, love of. So we naturally vibe with people who are going to live their lives in a way that either we do live or we
Right.
want to live.
Right, right, right.
And it kind of goes towards, like, everyone's like, "Oh, I'd be happy if I had more money, more cars, more status, 6-pack, whatever."
Right.
But you have just, I read somewhere, the more you desire something, the farther you are from it. So the more you want something,
You're focusing on the lack of it.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Or like, man, that guy, he's got like 6-pack, he's got money, he's got the girls, he's got blah, 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 whatever. But he's human,
Right.
just like all of us. and he's gonna suffer.
Right.
But if you wanna live like him, the fact that you're like, well, you're happy, my life is shit. Why would this person want to connect with you?
Right.
Because you're automatically disconnecting yourself from them.
Exactly. Yeah. To give so much attention to something is definitely recognizing the lack of it in your life.
Right. Exactly.
And you want to be more on the doing aspect of life, which is the daily grind, and if you have some good people who also are about the daily grind, it's like when I was in Pattaya, I did Muay Thai, but I mean, I played, let's say, watching these other serious people train, and I saw that boxing is a very lonely sport, because you're very temperamental, as a fighter, and that it's hard to keep a romantic lover around you, because it's like, and that like you wake up at weird times, and like sometimes like you have to fight. It's like fight season's always like really intense, and you're most of the time either training, coaching other people, stretching. It's like that's how you spend your 18 hours or like 16 hours, whatever, so the community, the people that you box with, the people that you learn with, is your life. So in that regard, it's I think what you guys did the whole mind map with the acro stuff, right? And community came out of it. I think that's the pillar, one of the pillars at least. Diet, sleep, community is that the thing that allows a lot of us to live longer, fulfilling lives.
Well, the community, because the people in the community we're all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Whether you're a Muay Thai, you're a ballet dancer,
Right.
you're a rock climber,
Right.
you're a Red Bull,
Right.
Daredevil, you still need to eat, sleep, hydrate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, do whatever your pastime is.
Right.
So it's just like bodybuilders are gonna kind of eat the same way, kind of probably sleep same schedule. They're like, no, I have competition next week. I can't
Yeah.
be out partying. And
Yeah.
I respect that. So it's like eat, sleep, move.
Yes.
All foundational.
Wow. We've boiled it down to the basic.
It's always the basics keep you in your straight line.
Yes. The fundamentals.
It's like a stool. Yeah, if you take
Yeah.
away sleeping, eating, hydration, the stool falls over.
Yeah, pretty much. Nice. That's a good way to kind of approach the end of our conversation. Did you feel like an hour was passed?
That was an hour.
Yeah.
I feel like it, brother.
Time flies on the microphone, man.
It does. Yeah. Time flies with a good conversationalist.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for doing it.
Thank
Is there
you.
any parting ideas, thoughts you would like to add before we close off?
I'd say for myself and for everyone else out there,
Yeah.
whatever you want to do, just start, go out and do it.
Go out and do it.
Just find people online, in person, and just show up, be present.
Yes. Oof. I love that. I'm not going to ruin it with more words, even though I'm really doing it right now. But thank you so much, brother. Kapung kap. Odi kap. See you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
Okay, that was an hour of recording. I can't imagine how long editing.